We're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order on March the 21st, City Council meeting at 7 p.m. If everybody would please rise for the invocation and the pledge. Mr. Campbell.
Father God, we thank you for this day. God, we thank you for how you continue to bring us through dangers seen and unseen. We ask you, God, to please be with this council. Continue to watch over and protect them. Continue to give them wisdom they need. We ask you to be with all of our city officials. Our mayor, be with all of our staff that works for our city. Be with them, watch over them. We always ask you to watch over our first responders. Be with them and give them strength. We don't even know the things they see, the disasters they have to deal with, and the things that we may not even hear from in the paper, but we want to give them the strength and courage to do what they do, because a lot of us could not do the things that they're doing, taking care of our community. God, we ask you to continue to watch over our state, our country. Continue to help us all, Lord, and understand that we're all together in this fight to make our community better, that every link needs to be connected, and every link needs to be strong, every link needs to be continual, so we will be one. So continue to watch over us, continue to help us to be what you would have us to be. We ask it all in the name of Jesus the Christ. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Council Vice President White. Councilperson Zastovny.
Here.
Councilperson Yawn.
Here.
Councilperson Maples.
Here.
Councilperson Gill.
Here.
Council President Owen.
Here.
Councilperson Webb.
Here.
Let the record reflect that Councilperson Samuel, Councilperson Hawkins are absent, and the rest of the council is present.
Mr. Samuel is traveling to Texas, I believe, to greet his first grandbaby this week. So that's why he's not with us tonight. And then Mr. Hawkins, I believe, is traveling with family as well on a college visit with his son. So that's why they weren't going to be here tonight. Minutes to be approved from March the 7th.
I'll make a motion to approve the amended minutes. We're under new business number 3 at head off honor. So didn't have who seconded it in passing the member vote. They corrected it, so Matt will be signing the corrected minutes.
So motion, is there a second? Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Approval of the agenda. I believe, Mr. Merkley, we're going to take number 1 off the agenda under unfinished business. Is that right? Or would you rather us vote it down?
For purposes of proceeding on another ordinance on the same subject matter, I would request that you vote this ordinance down.
Okay, we'll leave it on there then.
The motion to approve as stands.
Motion to approve, is there a second? Second. Anything further? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Claims. General claims, $1,371,396.75.
Had a request to pull one of them out, right?
Right.
To vote on separately?
Yes. Which one's that? We're going to pull out under
9.
page 9. It's a claim for the Parks Department for
$83,205, Mr.
Right.
President.
for an LED wall, video wall.
Can I speak on that?
Yes, sir.
Per the ordinance that you guys put together for the procedures for approving capital expenditures, I'm here to explain where we're taking the money from and get your approval. It's a claim over $5,000. Can I ask, is that why you're denying it, or is there another reason?
That's why we were pulling it, yes.
Okay. The funds that we're using to pay for the video screen is coming out of open space. It started the year at $400,000, and we're pulling $85,000 and change. I know I have that here somewhere. $83,205 out of open space to put into help me out. Yes, thank you, into the improvements fund to pay for the video screen.
So now he's using now to come before us for the 5,000 and above ordinance? Okay, well, I'm sorry, I can't support it tonight.
Okay. So we'll bring it back to you at the next council meeting?
I'm just one person.
Are we just separating it at this point?
At this point, we're just...
The money is in my budget, and I'm just moving it from one fund to the other.
So I think it's in the budget in a different fund.
Open
Same
space.
fund, but different account.
Right, different account. So if it's in the budget, it's kind of, up to us if we're going to approve that or not. We talked about this briefly at the first Park Authority meeting with the new Park Authority, but didn't have any kind of dollar amount or details. It was just kind of the concept of this is what we'd like to do. If you want to explain a little bit what this is.
Sure, it's an LED video screen that will go behind the bands on the river stage to enhance the experience of the concert for one reason, and secondly, it can be used for a movie video screen to play our movies on. We play movies on Saturday night, and we play concerts on Friday night. The current movie screen system is just a regular video screen that can't be seen until it's completely dark. So a lot of our movies don't start until around 9 or 9:30 at night, and a lot of our Saturday night movies are geared towards children. So 9:30 at night, the kids are falling asleep and not getting to see the full picture. What we're looking at is an LED screen similar to the one at the Yum Center that's out in front of the Yum Center there. It'll have all the graphics and all of the details to play a video anytime during the day. In addition to playing the movies, we'd like to use it for advertising Sunday through Thursday. We'll play the video from, say, and we can work out these details later, but 5 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night, playing coming events to the river stage, opening of the ice rink, opening of the swimming pool, just advertising the different things going on in the city, as well as in addition to the river stage and the movies and the music. We've already talked to several sponsors. Our sponsorship city partner contract employee has been talking to a lot of sponsors, and they're very excited about it. As a matter of fact, we have one sponsor that may be paying for the majority of the video screen, which is about $58,000 of the $83,000 could be paid by sponsorship. We haven't got a signature on the dotted line, but we've been discussing this with this city partner for about 3 weeks now. So.
Do you not say it's for the back of the river stage?
Right. It'll go behind the band. It'll go right above the drummer, and it'll play.
I thought you were talking about
still seen from
behind
the
for
audience.
the...
Yeah, not for the river.
Right. The crowd will see it, but it will enhance it's the light show and video show. It'll play different types of light show. I'm sorry, I'm stuttering here, but it'll play, in addition to the light show, it'll play graphics. It'll have pre-recorded sponsorship messages before and after the concerts, before and after the movies, and then in addition, we can play our movies on it.
Did you have this last year, Paul? Is this something new this year, or?
It's something brand new. We talked about it 2 or 3 years ago, and the price was just so expensive we couldn't afford it. And I know $83,000 is pretty expensive, but it's come down about by 2/3. It was over $200,000 2 years ago when we priced it out. So we didn't even bring it to the council at that time. We knew it was too much to spend. But the video wall pricing has come down. It's what we think is affordable. $83,000, and that also includes a few other items that'll help, that are part of the existing light program. Some of them are 5-6 years old and starting to wear out, so we're replacing some of those. So that's why when I say a sponsor is willing to pay for the new video screen, that's about a $58,000 price tag.
When I first saw this, I thought it was for the back of the...
Oh, no, it's not the one
I know there's
facing
been
the
talk
river.
about that, but I think this is a fantastic idea. It's an idea we talked about years ago.
Mhm.
There's a lot of events that happen during the day that we talked about trying to show video for the public, like Olympic games, like national soccer games, national events,
Definitely.
sports-related events that are interesting that we could get a crowd together, but during the day we could never do it because we didn't have a projector that provided enough light. So personally, I think it's a fantastic idea. I'm glad that the
Thank
price has gotten to a point that we could make it happen.
Can you be mindful of the procedure and the ordinance to,
Yes, and normally I would, but we're trying to get this ordered and in place before Memorial Weekend, which is our opening night of River Stage, with the Louisville Crashers coming. So we open on Memorial, and we're pressed for time. That's the only reason why I did it this way. I talked to Heather earlier in the week and told her I would come discuss it before the claims were approved.
and can you keep us updated on the sponsorship if you do get that 53,000 or whatever it was?
Most definitely. We should hear something next couple days.
Then I will support it then, thank you.
Will the city own it?
Yes.
We're
It will-
buying it from Sounds Unlimited?
We are purchasing it, and part of the purchase price will be for them to store it in the off-season. It'll come off the river stage and go into storage. They'll also clean it and prep it before the next season.
What's the size? Dimensions?
It is 17 and a half, let me think, 10 feet tall by 17 and a half foot wide.
Oh, this is a purchase. I thought this was a rental.
No, this is a purchase. We'll own it. They come in 2 by 2 squares, and it's a modular system that you add squares to it. I think it totals about 46 pieces, 2 by 2.
Do you have the estimated cost, what it would be next year, just for them to maintain it after we make the purchase here?
The price for Sounds Unlimited to let's see, it's around $5,200 for them to do what they do.
So next year it'll be about 5,200.
I would say it'd be around that price tag, yes.
Did this require to do bids? Did you put a bid out for it? Or are we required to do bids?
Oh,
Because of the amount? I forget what the threshold is for that.
I think the threshold's
Somebody's not paying
150 if I'm not mistaken.
Mr. Lewis, for an equipment purchase such as this, is there a necessity to go out for bid or?
Not for bids, but did you solicit any quotes?
We did not. I'm sorry?
Probably such a...
Right.
Are we obligated to do it?
It's under the public bidding, but normally at that price, usually if it's over 70, it's between 75 and 150, you're technically obligated to request 3 quotes. So it's under 75,000, quotes. Public bidding, of course, only kicks in if it's over 150,000.
Right.
But there's an exception that if something is a unique item, that's to provide a quote, you can go for a quote. You still have to make the attempt to request quotes.
Right.
Just to cover your bases.
Who owns Sounds Unlimited?
Brent Rogers and Chris Hughes.
I think delaying it would take away from the timing to get this done, and by Memorial Day, and to get it up on the river stage. So
Yes.
I would support it.
Yeah, they're pretty reputable. They've been around a while.
Mr. Lewis, I understand if it was above 75,000, 3 quotes should be necessary, but this is a total, it's a package for several different things that, it's not just one piece of equipment
The screen is
being
58,000.
purchased.
I think usually trying to break something down does not really get around that. I think for the record, though, if you find that this is a unique item, that this particular item, the uniqueness of it, that there's no other vendors that can provide it. If you put that in the record, then you can vote on it without securing quotes. But you have to put in the record that it's a unique item.
But if we broke down and
And the purchase is being by the Parks Authority, so really it'd be the Parks Authorities that would make that finding. So I think if you approve the claim subject to the Parks Authority making that finding, it'll be okay.
Motion to approve the claims, subject to the Parks Authority making a finding that this is a unique item.
so then you're motioning all of the claims or just the one separate?
Unless there's someone has concern with another claim. Yeah, I'm approving all the claims.
So motion is there, second?
Second.
Was there anything else on any of the other claims?
I went through them all, so
Everything was okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. If I could just talk about real quickly, 2 other purchases that are over $5,000 that we don't have claims in for. We're looking to purchase some pool chairs for the aquatic center, obviously. We're purchasing over 100 chairs at $16,295. I'm asking for you to approve that one. And then also, our concrete lot at our maintenance barn is in such disrepair. It has, it holds water, it has potholes, it's in really bad shape. So we're contracting out to get some paving done on our parking lot of the maintenance barn, and that's $46,450. And again, that money will be taken from open space and moved over into repairs.
Is that in this or 2 weeks?
It won't be in the claims, no. These are just future items that I'm asking you, because they're over $5,000 per the ordinance, I have to ask your permission to do that. Am I right? Yeah. And I'm just asking if I can move forward with the purchase of a new parking lot at our maintenance barn and for pool chairs for the aquatic center.
The reason the restriction's in place is to protect the budget against the large expenditures before the circuit breakers hit. The pool chairs are probably something that is a timely purchase, wouldn't it be?
They are. We can get them quicker than we can some of the LED screen, but that's why I haven't done anything with a claim yet. I want to get your approval, and then we'll put the claim through. But yeah, it opens Memorial Weekend, so we've got about 4 or 5 weeks.
I agree with you, Mr. Owen. I'd support the chairs and maybe hold off on the other part because of the timing. With that, I'll make a motion that we be willing to approve the purchase of the chairs at $16,000.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Is there any other discussion?
Has this gone through the Parks Board?
No, we have our next meeting Monday night, a week from tonight.
They not have to approve that?
They will.
They will.
So I understand we're holding off on the parking lot paving?
Yes.
Okay. And what would my procedure to be, to go to the Parks Authority, get their approval, and then come back here? Or just wait until,
Just wait a month.
wait a
Get our
month?
budgets
Got it.
squared away.
Should he get 2 or 3 bids on that parking lot?
Preferably, I would go through the Parks Authority, since they're the governing body, and then,
Okay.
I mean, that's my opinion.
I agree.
Anything further? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you. Report of the clerk.
None at this time.
Unfinished business, Les Merkley, 2016 OR 6, which is the ordinance adopting the Ordinance Violations Bureau. We've passed this on the first reading.
We are, what you see under new business, there is a new ordinance in reference to the creation of an Ordinance Violation Bureau. I would request that the council vote this ordinance down on final reading, on second and third reading, in anticipation we're going to bring it up in a new ordinance later on. It just will make things much cleaner. That way we have a new ordinance number and there's not going to be any confusion.
I'll make
because-
that motion.
So there's a motion to approve in anticipation of voting down.
Right.
Yes.
And I'll second, just to remind everybody, motions are always put in the
The
positive and the affirmative, and then you vote it down. So if you want to vote it down, you'd say no.
Yep, just vote, just say no.
Just say no.
Just say no.
There's a motion and a second. Anything further? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed?
Aye.
Motion fails. Number 2, 2016 OR 11, proposed ordinance to amend the animal shelter ordinance regulating the treatment and keeping of domestic, dangerous, vicious.
Yes, this is the ordinance that's in your packet. It's the same ordinance that was before you at the last meeting, except there's one change that I did make at the suggestion of some council members. I know this was a concern of Councilperson Maples. Under Section 2, Paragraph A on page 3, I've added a new section. It's in bold in reference to establishing and outlining an appeals process in the event that animal control has determined an animal to be vicious or dangerous. Basically, it provides for an appeals process to the Board of Public Works and Safety.
You fine with that?
If I may,
And that's all I have in reference to the ordinance.
yeah.
Right.
And since then, Matt had asked me to make some changes. The Word format got emailed to me Friday afternoon. I was out of town this weekend, so I was not able to make the changes until this afternoon. So it didn't get in your packet, but in addition, I guess the concerns that Matt had indicated to me among the small group that met, they wanted the appeals process to the Board of Public Works, which is in there. And then a couple additional changes. One was about the tethering, the time frame for tethering of the animals. On page 6, on the top of page 6, when it's prohibited to restrain a dog or a puppy by a fixed point chain, tether, or trolley. The change that I was requested to make for pursuant to that was for a period of time exceeding 8 hours in a 24-hour period. I think the original ordinance had 2 hours.
2 and an 8.
So we made that change, and then the other changes that Matt had asked me to
Well,
make.
Can I speak on that?
Wait a minute, why are you making a
This is the
change or
first time
something we
hearing of
didn't even
this,
vote
so-
on?
We're voting on the change now from the ordinance.
But we're extending that to 8 hours?
That's from the emails that I got after our last council meeting, that was going to be the proposed change. So I asked Mr. Lewis to write it up that way.
Is it possible in the future that I might be included on a chain that's it's directly, affecting my department? I'm completely blindsided by this. So,
Yeah, I'm confused too, I guess, because I thought at that last meeting, even the mayor came up and I thought we approved it on the second reading as it was. I didn't know there was going to be additional changes.
I didn't either. And the only problem last week was with the appeals process, so
Well, I don't think that's true. I think Mr. Samuel and Mr. Hawkins both stated that they were frustrated that the changes that are outlined here, that we all agreed on upstairs, weren't here. So then after the fact, they had came back and reiterated that they would not vote for what was proposed last week on a final reading.
But they did pending, right, that be changed. That was what they said. So that's changed? And, they're not here tonight to talk about the change that they want, so.
Other concerns. I think they also had other concerns, like Mr. Owen said. And I think part of the confusion is that the mayor said, my department head gave you an ordinance, and that's it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not going to have them try to compromise with you all. If you're going to change it, go ahead and change it, or some kind of words to that effect. That's what he said. I'm sorry. And
No, I
think
understand.
we need to have the communication, but I can see how this could happen without your knowledge after that conversation or comment from
I
you.
didn't know, so I would have let you know.
I know you would. I appreciate that. I really do.
This
So
is-
Les?
I just saw the changes.
Well, I got emailed this to me Friday afternoon when I was out of town. So
Right.
I just was able to address it today, so.
Right. So the ordinance that's presented in the packet is the ordinance that we'd vote on unless there was a vote to amend it, correct? Because
This is a proposal to amend
right,
what you approved on first.
right.
If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. I was asked to make the changes.
I hate the fact that the department head isn't aware of these changes, and I don't think we should vote on it, in my opinion. I know there's some concerns with some council people, and they're not here to be able to speak up. So my opinion would be I'd rather table it if there's not a time-sensitive issue here, and try for us to come together. That's my opinion. I'd be happy to hear your opinion. Do you agree with that?
I do. Yeah,
I hate to vote-
probably shouldn't speak
Vote
on
a
it
certain
anymore.
way. I
I'm
hate
kind
to
of
vote a
upset.
certain way without some of the key council people who were
Right. And the
spoke up about it.
there were
And I
four
definitely
of
don't want
us-
to do it without the department head being aware of what's in there.
Right. There were 4 of us that sat down, and 2 of the 4 aren't present. So I'd be more than happy
Well, I
to
guess
wait.
where I'm confused, Mr. President, is then there was so much back and forth because apparently there was a meeting that took place with Sarah that the rest of us had no idea about.
Well, that's,
So then
no,
we,
no, no, no,
then
no,
we
no.
discussed.
We were
That is
invited.
not,
No, I
that's
mean
not,
the changes that were made to her ordinance because we didn't know
Okay.
which was agreed upon.
but to say that
I
there was a
stand
meeting that you
corrected.
didn't know about
I
is not
stand
correct.
corrected.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I just got tongue-tied there. It was, we didn't know what, I knew that there was an issue with the vicious dog, but the tethering, I didn't know what the agreement was going to be on that. But I always, when we voted on that last ordinance, I didn't, and that's my confusion from this last meeting, I didn't know that any additional changes were going to be made.
I wasn't at the meeting, but the way I understood that meeting went last time here was there was some discussion of the four with you. Then those changes weren't done 2 weeks ago, and they approved it on contingent on making those changes. Is what I understood.
Okay.
I can review the video again, but I believe that it was contingent on the vicious appeals process was the only, as far as I heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, we can look this up again, but that it was only on the appeals process. That's the only thing anyone had said that they could not live with. And suddenly, you know, and I know that it was a frustrating process, but I came to you, I gave you the respect Wednesday before we came back at the council meeting to say, I'm not comfortable with some of the things we did.
Right.
And you said you would talk to the other council member and let them know that. I know they were very upset, but again, I came to you before, not at a council meeting, but before, and said, I've got some concerns, and I understand this is a frustrating process, but there's some legitimate concerns. I just feel like I should probably get that same respect if something's going to be changed instead of me being ambushed at a council meeting.
Well, I apologize for feeling ambushed. I think there was a council member that voted against it last time because the language wasn't there. So to say that we approved it based on that being added, I don't know if that's how that went or not. I don't recall that being the case. But I apologize for you not being aware that there were people who seriously didn't had some serious concerns about the changes that we agreed on not being in the language. And then furthermore, after the fact, after we left the council meeting, you know, another couple of emails were exchanged further stating dissatisfaction with the way it went down. And it was, you know, amongst the four that met with you privately. So
I think I'll speak up. I agree with Ed on this, that maybe we should table it. My main focus was the due process, which has been added. I think the two other council members that aren't here had some issues with the tethering. That wasn't my main focus. My main focus has kind of been addressed. So,
Well, I know a couple of them had issues with the tethering, but does that mean 5 of them had issues with the tethering, or is it just the 2 that had issues?
and again, that's why this is being brought as an amendment. Nothing was changed in the packet. It was being brought as an amendment to be discussed amongst all 9 council members.
So we're going to vote on 2 different ones, or how are we doing this?
I believe that the proper,
The proper procedure would be if you want to change.
you have to change in an open meeting.
Motion to amend the ordinance that was approved on 2 readings with the amendments.
Right.
And discuss with those amendments. You have to vote to amend it.
Right.
Then, if it passes, then you can pass the ordinance on 3 readings, or it fails, and go forward and pass the original ordinance on 3rd reading.
Which was the intent. So, and it's not a planned ambush, and I apologize that that's how you feel, because we've all talked about this, and this is that's the procedure. If you have an amendment you want to make to a piece of legislation that's already passed once, then you bring that amendment to the council meeting. And we sat for 2 hours and talked about those things, and it never made it into the actual legislation.
A lot of them did. I mean, we took out the under 20. We made some changes.
You are correct.
You know, I keep hearing that, but a lot of things did change. There's 2 things that we were still stuck on. One we changed, because, you know, and which I totally agree with. One we changed. This is the last thing and only thing that didn't go the way of the meeting.
Just for the record, I have not seen the proposed changes.
Was that the only
additional change?
The change, and then there were a couple of places where the mays and shalls were changed.
About seizing the animals, yeah. Matt sent me an email that said change where, when it said that the animal control officer or police officer shall seize or shall impound an animal, I was instructed to change that the animal control officer or police officer may seize or may impound.
Right. But that did not, those mays were not, those language changes were not, they did not revolve around the restrictions or the regulation of the residents with their animals.
That's correct. That was only in regard to animal control officer or police officer, their actions on seizing or impounding.
Right.
That's the only changes. There's like 4 or 5 changes on that. Discretion to make.
Right.
So would you rather a group meet with you again? Because I was under the impression as well that the mayor didn't want us to come back to you with any changes.
I mean, I don't feel like I should have to change anything else. I feel like I've changed a lot. Some things that make me uncomfortable, but I just wish I would have known. I wish someone would have told me what to expect. You know,
I think just to clarify, at the end of the day, it's the council's decision what an ordinance says.
And that's what we were told.
So I mean, obviously, this is what the administration is presenting. This is what the administration believes is the correct ordinance and is how we should be regulating animal control. That's the administration's position, and the administration would prefer that that be the ordinance that be adopted. Obviously, at the end of the day, it's the council's decision whether to approve the ordinance, change the ordinance, vote the ordinance down, or use it for wallpaper. That's your all's decision. I just want to clarify the procedure, because I think this is where things get confusing, is that, you know, you have an ordinance that's in front of you that has been adopted, I believe, on, is it first reading? I believe first reading. The correct procedure is to, if you want to amend it or make any changes, is to make a motion to amend, and you state whatever you're amending it to, whether you're adding or deleting, requires a second, and then you vote on that motion to amend. Because I think what gets confusing is sometimes is that things are proposed for an ordinance, and somebody just makes a motion, I move to approve as amended. Well, you didn't amend anything. I mean, you discussed, but we still don't know what you amended. So I just want to make sure the procedure is clarified. Again, from a legal standpoint, I have not seen what changes have been made, what's been changed from shall or may, and so I cannot speak as to whether or not those would create any problems for my office enforcing and prosecuting the ordinance, because ultimately it's the administration and the city attorney's office that has to prosecute and enforce the ordinance. So.
Can I make one? This is also the third reading.
Yeah, this has already been approved on the second.
So we motion to table.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to table. Anything further? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
One quick thing, can somebody send me this on a Word document? Because it's got the mayor's signature on the page by himself. Both of them do. And he does not like to sign blank sheets of paper.
Well, I know it does.
We'll get it fixed. It hasn't been adopted as
I know, I'm just,
We'll get it.
and the only reason I'm saying that, I've gotten several like that.
Number 3, Kim Calabro, 2016 OR 18, amending an ordinance, fixing the salaries.
Okay. Hello again. All right, you want to go back through them again like we did last time? I made the changes based upon the discussion at the last meeting.
I believe, Lynn, were you fine with it? Because you talked at sewer board that you said that something was inadvertently taken out?
Yes, when you look under wastewater, they had made the decision to keep the administrative assistant. It was an AA2, they're changing to an AA1, and that was just miscommunication.
My fault for not being more careful reading it. Everything else is fine.
So we put that
So
back in.
you have that in
That's-
there?
Yes, correct.
Okay, he just brought that concern to me, and I told him I'd have him come up and verify.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think he sent a copy of the meeting minutes and the org chart to,
Right.
It should all be in yellow.
It's not in the ordinance that we have, though. We need to add that to it, correct?
No,
yes, we
In
have.
there?
it's in here, isn't it? Under page 3, wait a minute, where'd it go?
On the first reading, it wasn't in there.
Right.
Correct.
So we need a
Page
motion.
5?
Yes.
I'm sorry, sir. Isn't it on page 5?
Yes, you're correct, Vicki, thank you.
Yeah, it's in it's in this one.
Okay.
Was it in it last week?
No,
No.
it is in your pack, on the one you have in your packet now. It has been
Right here.
corrected.
Okay.
On page 5, like Vicki said.
The administrative assistant, 1 part-time?
Yes, sir.
Mr. President,
That was approved by the sewer board as well.
Can I make a motion?
Mm-hmm.
I move to amend ordinance 2016 OR 18 to include the administrative assistant 1 part-time HR 50%.
It's not part-time.
Yeah, it's full-time.
It's full-time.
Well, this says part-time,
It says
so-
part-time.
No,
Am I reading the wrong thing?
this is the HR administrative assistant. He's adding another administrative assistant.
Okay, she said page 5, so that's what I was looking at.
Yeah.
The administrative
What page is
assistant-
it, Lynn?
Page 5, it says administrative assistant 2, it's in red.
Oh, 2.
It's stricken.
That's
right?
crossed out,
I
yeah.
will withdraw my motion.
We're adding an administrative assistant 1 in lieu of an administrative assistant 2,
Right.
Okay,
which was approved by the sewer
Say
board.
that again.
but that still says
But it still
part-time.
says part.
That's a different administrative assistant.
There's
Well, I
one in
don't
sewer
see the
billing.
administrative
One
one
is
that
not
he's
in
wanting.
the ordinance
Because
last week. It's in the
because it's not in here.
The administrative assistant 1, that's full-time.
Under admin, administration.
So clearly what we have in front of us isn't the right
That's
one.
Can't see that far away. I
Because we-
have the revised copy that we
Sorry,
made
I've left mine in the office.
Friday.
Oh, you did it Friday?
I don't have what's, we
Right.
changed the AA, we added the AA1 because it got eliminated last month
Right.
by accident. That's why he sent the email. I'm sorry, we're not on the same page, are we?
I didn't get the
Okay.
email.
I think Len only sent it
And then
to
Lynn and I
Matt.
emailed back and forth.
Can you
We need
show
to-
us on this, I'm sorry, Mr.
No, what we have is not correct.
Okay, so that administrative assistant part-time needs to stay in. So we need to, where the administrative assistant's crossed out, we need to add another administrative assistant 1.
Changed a 2 to a 1.
Okay,
Yes.
gotcha.
Cross it out.
That's what
And it's
you
not
need to
struck
amend.
out.
Can you show us on the screen, please?
And then I need the corrected one for the council.
Right up there, where it says administrative assistant 2, the 2 needs to be changed to a 1.
And kept in.
And not read it out.
The way it's
Crossed
printed
out.
is not correct.
That's what I tried to say from the beginning.
And that was the only change that was made on Friday.
Yes, because it was erroneously left out last week, and I was off Friday, and it did not get fixed till Friday. I was not here.
Okay.
So that's why it's fixed today. So, and this was all part of our conversation with Matt. Matt, as the president, was fully aware of what Mr. Ashak was doing.
It's
So I
all good.
apologize that not everybody else was on that email.
The only,
Just something that was omitted from the original request from the sewer board meeting minutes.
the only request I have is when you all change something, could you please get it to me so I can have it, the original, because that's what they signed. And I'm sitting here with one that is wrong.
My apologies.
Okay,
So there has to be a motion to amend the ordinance, which is why it's not here, because we can't have an ordinance changed without it being voted on.
So Scott, make sure I get this right. So I'm gonna, or, he
Dustin made a
rescinded his,
motion.
right? But
I'm
he had,
going to try to do it correctly.
okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go for it. So if I understand correctly, that what's marked out as administrative assistant 2 should read administrative assistant 1.
Correct.
Mr. President, I move to amend ordinance 2016 OR 18. Under the wastewater department, removing what's marked out as administrative assistant 2 and replacing that with administrative assistant 1.
That's just in the second reading.
There's a motion to amend. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second to amend the ordinance. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Now we need a motion to approve the ordinance as amended.
I have a question. In the finance department, there's additional employee in here, is that right? Yeah. And I was going to do a little research, and only research I did about number of employees in the finance department was I called New Albany, and they have 6 people. So, and how many do we have?
We have 6, well, 7.
And this would be 8?
Yes.
So, I mean, just for a comparison, I don't know if that's a fair comparison or not, but that's the only research I did.
Do you know how many employees they have that they do payroll for?
I didn't ask them. We have more employees than they do. You know what's interesting is that they don't have any. They didn't upgrade their software. They haven't upgraded their software in years and years and years. They said. In fact, it came up last year, and they said we don't want to do it. It's too complicated. It's going to actually take more people to do. And I said that's exactly what we did, and now we need more people.
I think they outsourced theirs to ADP. I think. New Albany?
Do we need to look at that?
So, I think.
So are you suggesting we only pass this on the second reading then? Or are we,
I'm just sharing the information I got. So I don't know. To me, since we don't have a clean copy, I would say second reading anyway. Get a clean copy for a third reading.
I'll then entertain a motion.
Move to adopt ordinance 2016 OR 18 on the second and third reading.
As amended.
As amended, I'm sorry.
Is there a second? There's a motion. Is there a second? Okay, the motion fails for lack of a second. Is there another motion?
I make a motion to pass 2016 or 18 on the second reading only,
As amended.
as amended.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second to pass on the second reading as amended. All those in favor, anything further? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Heather Metcalf, public hearing.
What about the
Uh,
pay grades?
Oh, I'm sorry. That is, and we can talk about that on the third reading also, but that I wanted to say for the record that ordinance does include those new pay grades that we talked about for part-time employees and our seasonal employees. So
Okay.
we want to make sure that that's on the record as a part of the ordinance because it is a major change.
Okay.
Thank you, Kim.
Kim, can you get me a copy of all that tomorrow?
First thing, I'll go up and make you a copy right now.
Okay, and I need the pay grades to go with it too.
Pardon me?
And I'll need the pay grades.
They've not changed.
Well, I still need them.
Heather Metcalf, public hearing 2016 OR 19, ordinance of additional appropriations passed on the first and second.
This has not changed from the last meeting.
What are we doing?
Be
19.
I'm sorry.
20, I believe.
No, 19.
It's for the improvements that you're doing down here for the council and sewer billing.
No, that's not the one I have. Okay.
And the,
I don't have it,
I don't either.
but I know what it was. So do we have a public hearing on that?
yes,
Okay. That was the ordinance on the 90-10,
yes.
the match, and then also for the engineering, and then for the
70,000.
improvements down there.
Yes.
Which nobody had any issues with that.
Yes.
Okay.
This time we'll open a public hearing. Is there anybody here to speak for or against ordinance 2016 OR 19? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
What was that ordinance? I'm sorry, would that be 19? Okay, I'll make the motion to pass 2016 OR 19 on the second and third final reading, or the third final reading, whichever it's supposed to be. Third final reading.
The motion, is there a second?
Nope, there's none. Okay. I'll second.
Anything further? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. 2016 OR 20. This is the additional appropriation for the police department,
Yes. It's not changed since the last meeting.
and it has not changed since we approved it the last time.
This is also up for public hearing.
At this time, we'll open a public hearing for 2016 OR 20. Is there anyone to speak for or against the motion, or the ordinance? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion or council comment?
I just have a comment on the Lloyd. I went by that, the email, and I think, Ed, you found it. Was I mistaken or not, that $125,000 to go to each? And so since there was no additional emails on that, that's what I thought we were doing. And of course, last meeting, as you know, kind of went crazy with pots of money, and so I would like to, if unless there's any objection, just pass this on the second reading, because I do have concerns myself on the Lloyd chance for us to have more discussion, but that's, if people feel otherwise, that's fine. I just think that's a lot of money coming out of Lloyd. It takes us above that additional $300,000, so we have to do an addition, go into reserves for all of the police Lloyd. And I just feel like we just need more discussion on that. That's just my personal opinion.
So then, do you want to set up, if that's the case, do you want to set up a meeting with the chief to discuss those concerns before our next meeting?
Yes,
Okay.
Finance meeting next week.
that'll be fine.
Is there a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to pass 2016 OR 20 on the second reading.
Second.
Motion and second. Anything further? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
This one's also not changed from the last meeting, and it is up for a public hearing.
Oh, this is not over. 2016 OR 21. This is the additional appropriation for the fire department. This is a public hearing. At this time, we'll open a public hearing. Is there anybody to speak for or against the ordinance? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion or discussion?
Their Lloyd is still under the 125,000, so I'm fine with this Lloyd.
If everybody's fine with it, I'll make a motion. We pass OR 2016 OR 21 on the second reading.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Anything further? On the second and third?
I said second. Second.
You said second?
Do we need a second and third?
No, that's fine.
It's your motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
I'm sorry, you said second reading? Okay, we'll come up to the next meeting.
And then finally, old business, 2016 OR 22.
This one will need to be amended to take out the 2 for the fire department and the 4 at the bottom for safety.
Okay, can you go through which ones to be removed?
The 2 that are for the fire,
20,000,
yes, and the 1,600.
okay,
And then the last 4, the one for 8,620,
okay,
20,000, 2,200,
okay.
and 4,100.
Those changes reflect the changes that we made in the salary ordinance.
Yes.
So I'll make a motion to
Amend.
amend 2016 OR 22.
Second. Motion and a second to amend, making,
What's your amendment?
Oh, to amend where we're taking out the fire administration part-time of the 20,000, the 1,600 for the Social Security for that position, and the 4 that are from the general for safety, the 8,620, the 20,000, and the 2,200 and the 4,100.
This is also up for a public hearing, too.
What'd you say?
It's up for a public hearing once you all vote on the amendment.
we can do,
You got, yeah.
do the amendment first.
Right.
There was a motion, was there a second? Mr. Maples, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes and amended.
Quick question, so next meeting, it'll be a clean copy with those removed, right?
Right.
Yeah.
This is a public hearing. Is there anybody to speak for or against 2016 OR 22? We'll open that to the floor for that now. As amended? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
So I'll make the motion to pass 2016 OR 22 on the second reading with anticipation that we'll have the clean copy to both the final reading. Ordinance as amended.
Second.
Motion and a second. Anything further? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
New business. Wes Merkley. 2016 OR 23.
Yes, this is the new ordinance that would establish an Ordinance Violations Bureau. This ordinance is much different than the one that you previously considered. It also outlines and establishes the fines and the penalties for the ordinance violations. With the assistance of the clerk, we've looked at some other communities that do not have a city court and do not have any relationship with a county court on how they deal with ordinances. The statute, Indiana law, clearly gives the city the right to establish an Ordinance Violation Bureau. I believe this is the best way to proceed if we are going to enforce our ordinances and collect those fines. It seems that, I know talking to the police, they are supportive of issuing those ordinance violations. So the city collects those fines as opposed to writing tickets on state statute, which we would not receive. We would receive very little of that money that would be collected. So, but I would request that you adopt this just on first reading. I know the clerk and I are still going to discuss some issues with the State Board of Accounts to make sure that we're not in violation with any of their regulations as we move forward to establish this Ordinance Violation Bureau.
I'll make a motion to pass 2016 OR 23 in the first reading.
Second.
Motion and a second. Anything further? I would just add that it's pretty easygoing meeting, sitting down with the clerk and Les and everybody and hashing this out. So,
I'm an easygoing guy.
yeah. Anything
That's
further?
your story. You're sticking to it.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. Council Attorney report.
Nothing for tonight.
Are there any department heads that would like to speak?
Just real quick, a press release went out today announcing that Abbey Road on the River is coming to Jeffersonville in 2017, Memorial Day weekend, 5-day festival, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. They bring over 20,000 people to the city of Jeffersonville. They have for the past 12 years in Louisville, so we're very excited about that, and I want to make that record. Thank you.
That's going to be big.
It's
That's
gonna be
awesome.
huge. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Is it free?
Is it fruit?
I don't know. I don't know. Public comment? Mr. Merkley, was there anything? Council comment? Mr. White?
I have no comments.
Mr. Z?
I have a comment. A couple years ago, the council got some money together and gave money to homeowners associations to improve the appearance of their subdivisions. Now, there were some rules in place. They had to be a nonprofit, had to have set up and bylaws, get the attorneys involved and all that. But I have a situation where Williamsburg Station, an area that did not get any money back then, but it's an area that is they take care of their own garbage pickup. They take care of their own street. They don't burden the city in any way, really, for resources other than fire and police, and it's not a heavily traveled area for police and fire. But they asked if they could get some help with replacing lights in their parking lots. And you get to the question of you help these guys, you got to help everybody else, and it's private property, I guess. But and I talked to Rick Lovin, talked to the mayor, and it's like we're not sure how we can do it, or if we can do it, or if we want to do it really. But what I'd like to do is try to find a way to do it to help these folks out in Williamsburg Station. I kind of look at it as in the past we've done similar things, as long as it's all on the up and up and legal through our attorney, and if there's a will on the council to do something like this. I'm not against us considering other subdivisions in everybody else's districts or whatever, but it's just that in this particular case, they really don't use our resources, and they could. They just have used to getting garbage pickup twice a week, and they're like, you know what, we already pay for it, it's already set up. We're not going to go down to one a week and have the city take care of it. And we already love our snowplow and cleaning our streets, and we don't really want to change that, and we don't burden the city with that. We're going to go ahead and take care of it. So anyway, just a thought out there. I don't know if there's any thoughts from our attorney or from anyone else, if there's a way to do it, or...
Off the top of my head, I'm not sure. I'd have to look into that. You're saying that they have an established homeowner association, but I'd have to see.
Yeah, and I know all the legalese I'd get to you, make sure that was the appropriate.
Homeowners, HOAs aren't necessarily like a nonprofit corporation.
Okay,
Not
but
always, it depends.
I mean, I'll get that square. If we can't legally do it, obviously I'm not going
It's
to push
all
it.
good. I'd have to research.
But if there's a way to do it, this would be one of those subdivisions that I would like to try to do something for. And I would guess, I don't know, maybe $1,000. I'm not sure what the overall cost of I think there's 6 lights or 5 lights that they wanted replaced, but they're high up and they're special lights, so.
We would pay more than that in basically sanitation and snow removal probably, wouldn't we?
Oh my gosh.
Was that place, I know that place, was that place there before the annexation? Was that
No,
always
that's been in
city?
there for a while.
That was a county at one time. That was,
Years ago.
Yeah,
it was the
30
county when they
30
set
years ago
those up.
maybe.
though.
It was not part of the new annexation.
Condos off Charlestown.
Before we annexed the meadows.
Oh, yeah, it was part of when we annexed the meadows and Gulfview way back then, like 25 years ago or 30 years ago, yeah. Anyway, so I'm not looking for any answers or anything, but I just want to throw it out there so you're not surprised if I do work with our attorney to see if there's a way to do this and bring it to the floor, so, thank you.
Ms. Yon?
No comment.
Mr. Maples?
No comment.
Ms. Gill?
No comment.
No comment?
Webb? Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn? We're adjourned.